With the release of the exotic draw quest, we were able to dive deeper into some of the mysteries behind Shin Malphur and his last word. So if you did happen to complete that quest, you were awarded with, of course, the last word, an ornament, and a pretty interesting confrontation with the Drifter.
I'll be seeing you, punk.
But that's not everything. As you would progress in this quest, you would unlock entries from 2 new lore books which are added to the game. These were called Letters from a Renegade, and also another book titled Book of the Unmaking. Today we're going to dive deeper into the mysteries behind these books and further explain what that quest meant with the battle between Shin Malphur and the Drifter moving forward.
I am Eris, the last. I have seen what the Hive call a god.
When we first became aware of the whole Shin Malphur vs Dredge and Yor story back in Destiny 1, we thought things were concluded, right? We know that Shin ended Yor at Dwindler's Ridge, and the most corrupt guardian known to man was ended by the last word. But as Forsaken began to unveil itself, we learned more about a man who goes by the Drifter and a game he runs called Gambit. Now of course, next to the Drifter, we also learned that Shin Malphur was still alive and well, and he seemed to be hunting down the remaining shadows, hoping to plug the bleeding corruption that lies within their ideals. So the point is, the death of Dredge and Yor was definitely not an end, it was simply another beginning, and now our guardian is caught in the middle of light and dark. So as mentioned for the draw quest last week, we received 2 brand new lore books, the Book of the Unmaking and Letters from a Renegade, which is messages from Shin. Now, it's pretty apparent that while the Drifter isn't a shadow of Yor, he has worked with them a lot in the past. He's pretty much dabbled on the dark side, and he is no stranger to this madness and corruption. On the other side of that, we have Shin Malphur, wielder of the light and the last word, and the guy who hates these shadows and corrupted guardians. Now, from a broad perspective, you can see how there's a little bit of tension there. The two seem to not like each other that much, but the weird thing is they have worked with each other in the past. Shin sort of helped the Drifter set up his game of Gambit in the first place, and the Drifter even told him where Callum was.
Spoken like a true disciple. If you have any last words, now is the time.
You'll never kill us all.
I don't have to. You're killing yourselves.
So let's talk a little bit about the draw quest and what it meant to the Drifter and Shin Malphur, what they were each trying to do. So to acquire this quest, we first went over to the Drifter and he says this. It says the Drifter has set you on a dark path but insists you are doing the right thing regardless of the danger. After all, what better way to stand against the darkness than to embrace it? The cleansed artifact hungers for light, to feed guardians, to feed it. So it would seem that with this new quest, the Drifter is sending us deeper down this path of corruption to learn more about the weapons of sorrow. Malfeasance, for example, was the first step. We joined his crew and some of us even became Dredgens, but now this is sort of where this journey begins. So the whole lore book titled The Book of the Unmaking follows 2 people named Orsa and Tebben Grey. These 2 people sort of go behind the scenes and go behind the Vanguard's back to learn more about these corrupted guardians. They even went as far as visiting Dwindler's Ridge and found a ship of Dredge and Yor, which they called an artifact. Now, we're not sure if this is the same artifact the Drifter uses because we know that's what he calls his ship, but yeah. So them being naive and, trying to figure out, hey, what the heck is up with this place, they ended up boarding this ship and finding many different etchings and symbols from back when Dredge and Yor was alive. Now the book then explains how they took some of these workings and etchings and gave them to different cryptarchs, traded some knowledge and tried to figure out what it meant, and they came up with this. We still had much to learn, but we were certain of a few key ingredients. Yor had been to Luna, whether his corruption began there or led him there was still unknown, and the glyphs he'd etched spoke of a great unmaking, the truth of which would be our own. Unmaking. For the longest time, we thought it was a threat, but as our work continued and we deciphered more and more of the glyphs, we came to see it as something more, a promise. Yor's etchings were a roadmap, arcane and cryptic, but with specific intent. Old research hinted at mysterious tomes labeled as Books of Sorrow. It was theorized by researchers long before our time that the Hive had their own set of holy texts, evidence of which had been gathered before the Great Disaster. These books were believed to be archives of Hive ritual and history, chronicling royal bloodlines and varied ceremonies and rites of passage. We were uncertain of the place Yor's etchings held in the overall picture of Hive legend, but they fit our understanding of these fabled books. As such, their hubris or educated conclusion is a distinction I'll leave the others to decide. We chose to collect our translations in accordance as a new entry in the supposed Library of Sorrow, a 7th book we called it. And writing this now upon reflection in the last days before the next stage of our journey, I believe, I know, we were right to do so. So there's a little bit about Orsa and Tebin kind of learning about the word Unmaking and also these books. So it then goes on to talk about the weapons of sorrow, how they were thought to only be rumors and myths, but figured out they were actually wrong and these corrupted weapons like Thorn were a thing. In the first step of the last word quest, the Drifter says this, or under the quest it says this. The 7th book of sorrow speaks of a great unmaking. Old friends of mine believe it's a blueprint for terrible weapons made in its name. I think they're mostly right, but to find out, some of your friends are gonna have to suffer. So of course I think the friends he is talking about here is Orsa and Tebin Grey, and this step involves you going into the Crucible and killing other Guardians. So after that, the next step was called Damnation. It says the artifact is calling to something dark, uncover a dark ritual on Titan to stop the twisted ceremony. So this artifact given to us by the Drifter to start the quest was part of a Hive ritual tied to their efforts to perfect weapons of sorrow. So essentially the Hive were trying to build more of these corrupted weapons and we needed to put a stop to it. In the same step we learn that they're trying to make weapons of sorrow. We also see a Guardian helmet punctured by a bullet from the Thorn. Drifter then believes the Hive wizard betrothed to a Hive weapon master are the culprits here. They are the ones crafting the new weapons of sorrow, and we need to go in there and end it. So at this point, we've traveled down this dark path a little bit, and we're sort of nearing the end of this quest. Drifter says, "This is it, Guardian, the furthest you've gone down Sorrow's road. There ain't no turning back. If the Hive are upgrading their arsenal, we need to know where and how so we can stop it and learn from it. Don't worry, this ritual won't make you a bad guy, it'll just feel like it." This brought us to the source of it all, Enkaar the Weapon Master, who is hiding in the Tangled Shore. Time to hunt us a Hive Weapon Master and put an end to whatever he's cooking up. This is where you get to be a hero and we both get to learn a little bit more about things best left undiscovered. Careful out there, you'll be alone and the odds will be stacked. Hope you make it back. So if you've completed this quest, I'm sure you have many questions. So we go out here to the Tangled Shore to stop Enkaar, which we did, which was a really cool mission by the way, but somehow the last word was involved. So how is that, and what was up with the Drifter's reaction? It seemed like it was something he wasn't expecting.
Hey, what the hell are you doing with that gun? That's the last word. You know you can trust me, but the man who gave you that? He's the one who walked into hell and spread my friend's ashes on the side of a rock. Oh, you are such a punk. Trying to play both of us, huh? You are insane. I dig it. But ask yourself, what's to stop that man from doing you in, like he's done with so many of my friends? I'll be seeing you, punk.
So the Drifter explains that he thinks we're working on both sides. We helped him acquire malfeasance before and became Dredgen through Gambit, but now we have the last word also on the side of Shin and his plan. Now the sort of weird thing from that line is the Callum part. He says that we helped the man that spread his friend's ashes on the side of a rock, yet he told Shin where he was. He let him know of Callum's location. Now maybe the Drifter assumes that our Guardian doesn't know that and only we do because we've read the lore, but yeah. Now the last line is the scary part. He says, ask yourself what's to stop that man from doing you in like he's done so many of my friends. So you can see how we are stuck in the middle of this battle. We participate in this dark ritual, but Shin gives us the last word. And what the Drifter said there towards the end about what's stopping him from ending, you as well, that'll come into play again in a little bit with what I read from Shin's cards. If you look at the last word tab, the lore there is, I believe, from Jaren Ward to Shin Malphur, but we also see in the description that Shin Malphur gives us the last word himself. So in the letters from a Renegade, we get more information on the backstory of this, and here it is. Yet here we are, you a guardian worthy of legend, dancing ever closer to the edge of an abyss, and I, one who stands against those who attempt such a fate. Yet I, for the first time, haven't moved to stop the music. This is something new. That you and I could share these words is something new. There's something in you, something about you. Not just bravery, I've seen that come and go. Not just might, the greatest fools have ever known have also been the greatest warriors. You're curious, but your curiosity is not a weapon, it is a tool. And somewhere in there, in the merging of the courage and might and curiosity, I see something worthy of a risk. So go forth, fight for the light, and challenge the dark. I will be watching with a hopeful heart. But no, should you overreach, should the consequences of your steps you take catch innocence in your wake, should your path veer blindly toward the perversion of your will and the whispers become your truth, I will be there to end it. And you. But you already knew I was going to say that. Understand that this is not a threat, it's just the way of things. Next, from a different card, we have the line where Shin explains us getting the last word. The gun came to you? How does it feel in your grip? Few can light its fire, but any reborn in the light can call its name. That's a secret I'm bound to hold. Just know you've earned it, and you've earned it true. The cannon you hold is yours, but it is no replica. It is a gift from a friend. And lastly here, Shin kind of describes the state of things in the current moment and how he depicts our guardian. To me there is only ever white and black, good and evil. In you I see blinding light, I see a hero among heroes, I see the hope you inspire shining through. But I also see for the first time, maybe, just maybe, a little bit of gray, and with it an end to last rites and final words. So with all of that, Shin can see a touch of gray and the risk of corruption in our guardian's path, but believes that we will still do the right thing and fight for the side of the light. If not, and we do become this corrupted guardian he talks about, he says he will have to end us. I think it's also pretty cool that Shin says the gifted last word he gives to us is not a replica, it's just a gift from an old friend, meaning this is the actual last word. Shin Malphur's goal is to still stop the shadows in the dark, but he will remain hidden moving forward. He says, "It's a long tale and nothing I'm interested in revisiting, not anymore. Them chapters are old, we're writing a new one, you and I. A final act for me, an unexpected beginning for you." So this is definitely going to be super cool to see how this unfolds in the future. We know that Thorn is coming back in the season of the Drifter next month, but what does that mean for our guardian? Will we have a choice between light and dark, Drifter or Shin, or will we fall to the corrupted ways of sorrow and become the next Dredgen Yor? Now, with the draw quest, it seemed like the Drifter was trying to corrupt us a bit. Throughout the quest, he already sent us down a dark path, beginning this corruption, but what if the last word wasn't there? If we stopped Enkaar some other way, say like a dark ritual, we may have a different weapon in our hands, something like the Thorn. So in summary, with all this, we are stuck between the two. Shin sees a touch of gray in us, but still believes we will do the right thing and continue to stay on the side of the light. The Drifter appears as a good guy for now and can turn on us at any moment. We definitely see the ulterior motives he used, Shin helps him create Gambit, but he also seems to dislike the man with the golden gun. Anyway, Guardians, if you enjoyed this video, please sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know what other mysteries and secrets you'd like to see in future videos in the comments down below. Anyway, my name's Evade and I'll catch you, Guardians, in the next one.